Did you know that souls choose when they want to incarnate into physical form through a baby? I am going to share today my experience channeling for someone who was trying to get pregnant with his wife, and they were really struggling for a couple of years. And I connected with a soul of a little baby that was waiting to come in, and I want to share the guidance that he had for his mom and his dad to prepare the conditions for him in which would be the ideal conditions for him to incarnate. It's such a beautiful, beautiful story. So I channeled for someone, we'll call him John, at the beginning of this year in January. And he came to me for a couple of things, but one of the things he wanted to address was him and his wife had been trying to get pregnant for, I believe, a couple of years, if I remember correctly. And one of the things that I channeled was that he was struggling to connect with his wife. And when I connected with his wife's soul, I saw that she was very sad in this lifetime. She was feeling sad and kind of lonely and down. And when I shared this with him, he said that he thought that it was probably connected to the infertility that she and they were experiencing. So the guidance that came through was to connect with her, for my client John to connect with his wife. They showed them taking walks. When I asked him, do you guys communicate? Like, how's your communication? He said they don't really have any. And what my guides were showing me was that was a big gap in their relationship. There was a lack of communication, which had led to other things, which were the things that actually brought John to me in the first place. But the lack of communication and connection was a really big deal, and his wife was feeling really sad around that. That was all things that I had channeled and shared around him, or shared with him, and guidance came through on what to do. He then wanted to know, will we ever get pregnant? And I don't do predictions on my website. I don't do predictions because there's so many different timelines for things to unfold, depending on free will choices, etc. There's lots of conditions sometimes, things that connect with maybe other people and their choices. So some things can be predicted, but again, most of it is going to depend on your life choices, your free will choices. So I hesitated to answer that, but I connected with the soul. I tuned in, and what happens when I channel, just for everyone out there who maybe who hasn't worked with me, when I connect into my channel, the question that I'm taking to the cosmic realms, the beings or the entities or the energy that can best answer that question is the one that I connect with. So when I took the question of will they ever get pregnant to the cosmic realms, this little soul that presented itself as this male soul came forward, and he showed himself as like a little baby. And he said, I'm the soul of the baby that's waiting to come in. And I even hesitate to share if it's female or male, because sometimes things can change, or my human is worried that things might change, and I want to give as accurate information as possible. And everything is always so beautiful and accurate. My human is the one that usually doubts stuff. So I connected with this little soul, and this little soul said that he was waiting to come in, that this wasn't about spending more money on IVF or anything like that. He was waiting to come in until the conditions were right. He said that my client John had some work to do with being forthcoming and honest with his wife and exploring a deeper communication at a deeper level with her. And that if this little baby soul, the soul's not a baby, but once the soul comes in as a baby, that the attention was going to be focused on the baby, and there wouldn't be there was a high likelihood that the soul contracts that John and his wife have together might get off track. They might not end up being honored in the way that they chose to once this little baby is here and they're focusing on the baby. So this little soul, combined with what I was channeling from my clients' guides and my guides, the messages that came in was it's time to focus on your marriage. It's time to really go deep on topics that you might have been hesitant to go deep on before, and it's time to open up that line of communication. So this little baby soul said, this is what I'm waiting for. And there were some other things that came in, but just for the sake of this video, I'm sharing high level. So about a month or two later, my client John reached out to me, and he said that things are totally shifting for the better with his wife. They had started going on walks, and that he feels like the relationship is just beautiful. He's just so ecstatic about how things were going. Once he initiated conversation going deeper in the relationship than just surfacey things. They didn't used to talk about a lot of things. A lot of stuff was kept hidden due to whatever traumas, right, from life that keep people from being open and honest and forthcoming. So I received an email from him last week that he was introducing me to someone else he was referring me to. And in the email, he said that, I'm going to cry. I might cry. It was so beautiful. He said that he's so ecstatic about the relationship with his wife. He said it's his best friend, confidant, and more, that he just could not be, the shift from January until now, because of the effort that they have put on, that they're putting in the relationship, it completely changed the relationship and their lives, and that they're pregnant with a boy and he's coming in October. So when you do the math, that little soul decided to come in once John started doing the work with his wife on the things that they needed to have to create a solid foundation for this baby to come in. The baby came in. I just thought it was so beautiful. I was floored. I had forgotten actually that I connected to the soul of the baby until a few days later. I thought, oh my gosh, that's right. I connected to the soul of this little baby who was presenting himself as a male. And that's the soul that came in. So I bring this forward because for several things I wanted to share this. The reason why I want to share this is to help people out there understand, maybe even from an infertility perspective, that there's a lot of things going on beyond the 3D that are potentially are connected to the lack of an outcome that you might be seeking in this life. To connect with that little soul, he's not little, but to connect with the soul who was presenting himself as this little baby who was waiting to come in, to find out why he was waiting to come in, and why, after years of trying to have a baby, the reasons why he wasn't ready to come in. And it was for the good of the relationship between the parents and to honor their soul contracts, but also to create the foundation that he needed to come in to do what he came to do. It was so profound. But also think about this in other areas of your life. If you're seeking a certain outcome in your life, if you're seeking a certain thing, this is something you can take to your higher self. I have a free guide on my website. I've heard that there's a glitch right now. It's not showing up, so I'm having somebody work on this. But I have a free guide on my website to help you connect to your higher self. Connect with your higher self and find out, this is what I'm seeking. This is what I'm envisioning. When you combine your beliefs with what you envision, with your emotions, that's what actually creates in this third dimension. So take it to your higher self and say, what am I learning from this? I desire a job where I can utilize my skills and that I'm lit up every day. Why is it not coming into my awareness yet? Usually it's because there are conditions and choices. There's conditions that need to be changed in your life and choices that need to be different, made differently, in order to create the perfect conditions for that thing to come in. It's putting your mindset first and starting to envisioning what it is that you want, and then identifying what could be potentially getting in the way. What do I need to shift and change in my life? Just like the guidance that came in for my client around what needed to change and shift with his relationship with his wife. Not just for the baby, but there were other deeper, bigger things going on that the lack of communication was contributing to, not the best behaviors. So this was the baby waiting to come in order for the parents to have an opportunity to shift their timeline. So I thought it was so beautiful. Love to hear your thoughts and comments. I'm going to be finishing my series, What in the Hell is Going On Around the World, and answering a couple of questions that have been dropped in on those videos here shortly. This was a little interjection. Would love to hear your thoughts and comments. Thanks for being here. See you in the next video.